So, very good morning, friends. I am once again there with you with a series of literary terms, and in this chain, I have come with a term that is known as problem play. I do not know why is this called problem play, because such plays offer us the solutions of our lives, of our day to day life. But okay, if it is known as problem play, well, I am fine with it. So, this problem play is also known as comedy of ideas. And this problem play is one in which, as the name suggests, problems of society are presented with an unconventional slant, with an unconventional angle. And the history goes of this genre to the 19th century. This genre developed in the 19th century in France, and it was perfected by the Norwegian dramatist Henrik Ibsen, who was born in 1828 and who died in 1906. And his play, The Doll's House, which was published in 1879, highlighting the lack of social opportunities for women, and it becomes an outstanding example of all the problem plays and of this form of this genre. Other dramatists who were inspired by Henrik Ibsen, the prominent one, the Nobel laureate from the Ireland, is the English playwright George Bernard Shaw. In 1856 he was born, and in 1950 he died, and he wrote many plays such as Mrs. Warren's Profession. Mrs. Warren's Profession deals and talks with the problem of prostitution. See, in that 1890s, George Bernard Shaw discussed such a sensitive issue related with the English life, and he delves into the world of prostitution and their problems. Also, he provided solutions in the form of character Mrs. Warren. Now, his other plays like Candida deals with the problem of eternal triangle. Pygmalion is also a problem of a girl whose economic status got dramatically changed overnight, and now she is unfit or misfit for the new world of aristocratic world. Now, other problem plays include Ibsen's Ghosts in 1882 and An Enemy of the People, written in 1882. Then there is Harley Granville Walker's The Voysey Inheritance, published in 1905, and John Galsworthy's Strife, published in 1909. So these are the prominent examples of problem plays. Now, friends, what are the features of a problem play? Number one, the problem play deals with the contemporary social issues. Number two, used as form for social, political, and moral discussions. The playwright's aim is to sensitize the audience towards the issues depicted. Number three, the characters in the play typically represent conflicting points of view. Number four, the dramatists often exhibit their own point of views through one or more of the characters. And number four, the mode of representation is realistic. It is realistic. The mode of representation is realistic. It is not artificial. It does not require extra grandeur of stage or theatre. And number fifth, there is a variation of the problem play known as discussion play. And instead of incorporating theme into plot, the playwright makes his characters discuss the social issue on stage in the form of extended debates. An example, Ishaw's Misalliance, written in 1910. Friends, before I leave, I would like to cite one example by quoting some of the dialogues from Candida, which is a play based upon Eternal Triangle, where a young character like Eugene Marchbanks is in love with a married woman, Candida, who is having a very nice husband in form of Morel. And now Candida is transfixed. Eugene, the young chap, the poet, is also transfixed in a problem. And now Candida has to choose between Eugene Marchbanks, her lover, or her husband. Now I would like to read out why there is a problem. What happens in our day-to-day life? In Act 3, there is a scene where Marchbanks is, the eager expression is there and vanishing utterly from his lips and nostrils as his eyes light up with a pathetic spirituality. There is a scene in that, and I would like to read out the dialogue uttered by Marchbanks. Oh, now I can't say anything. All the words I know belong to the same attitude or other, all except one. Now Candida asks, what one is that? वो कौन से तुम्हारी emotions तुम्हारी life में सारे, now I can't say anything. All the words I know belong to the same. जितने सारे शब्द मेरे पास है कैनेडा, वो सब एक ही जज्बात को बयान करने वाले हैं. मैं क्या कहूँ, बस एक ही जज्बात को सारे वर्ड्स मेरे हैं बयान करेंगे. Candida asks, what one is that? Then Marchbanks says, softly, losing himself in the music of the name, Candida, 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 Candida. I must say that now, because you have put me on my honor and truth, and I never think or feel Mrs. Morel. It is always Candida. वो कहता है कि सिर्फ एक ही शब्द मेरे सारे जज्बात को बयां कर सकते हैं. कैंडिडा पूछती है वो कौन सा शब्द है. मार्चबैंक्स बोलता है वो शब्द है कैंडिडा, 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 कैंडिडा. और वो लिखता है कि मैं अब आपको मिसेस मॉरेल की तरह देखता भी नहीं. इट इज़ ऑलवेज कैंडिडा, यू आर फॉर मी ऑलवेज कैंडिडा. नाउ देन कैंडिडा सेज, ऑफ कोर्स. And what have you to say to Candida? Now here, being a married woman, Candida should have immediately stopped him the moment he said, I never think or feel Mrs. Morel. बोलती उनको पूछना चाहिए था, क्यों आप मिसेस मॉरेल की तरह आप मुझे आप क्यों नहीं लेंगे. लेकिन instead of that, Candida asks and promotes him indirectly. Of course, and what have you to say to Candida? Marchbanks says nothing. But to repeat your name 1,000 times. नहीं, अब मुझको कुछ नहीं, आपके नाम को 1000 बार मैं पुकारना चाहता हूँ. Don't you feel that every time is a prayer to you? So here, this is one scene. And further we see that the same character, Marchbanks, Eugene Marchbanks, who was having under the shed of the love of Candida, is now being lambasted by Candida further in the further scenes. Then Marchbanks was fighting with the husband, and immediately, meanwhile, Candida came into the scene, and then Marchbanks said oddly, James means Mr. Morel, James and I are having a preaching match, and he is getting the worst of it. Now Candida looks quickly round at Morel, her husband. Seeing that he is distressed, she hurries down to him, greatly vexed, speaking with vigorous reproach to Marchbanks. And then Candida, Marchbanks की दोनों जब हस्बैंड और Marchbanks के बीच में लड़ाई होने लगी और कैंडिडा उस बीच में पहुंचती है, तो कैंडिडा यूजीन के साथ भी नहीं खड़ा होती. वो यूजीन जो अभी कैंडिडा उसके रोम में बस चुका है, वो किसके तरफ होती है? अपने हस्बैंड के तरफ. नाउ सी, यू हैव बीन अनोइंग हिम, नाउ आई वोंट हैव इट. यूजीन, do you hear? and putting her hand on Moral's shoulder, अपने husband के shoulder पर हाथ रखती हैं, and quite forgetting her wifely tact in her annoyance, and she says, "My boy shall not be worried, I'll protect him." वो अपने husband को my boy बोल करके प्रोटेक्ट करने की बात करती हैं, और इसके बाद यूजीन मार्जबैंक्स बहुत हर्ट होता है, बहुत वुंडेड फील करता है. तो सच काइंड ऑफ transfix is there. Such kind of crossroads come to our life when you have to take a decision between the two. Now the real face of love is exposed when it comes to choosing between Moral and Eugene, between security and freedom, between domesticity and boundless imagination. And we come across such conflicts, such crossroads very often in our lives. And so Shaw provides a solution to such problems, to even if it turns his play into an anti-romantic one, but the solution is there. If you are living in a married life, you should be always stand beside your life partner. So this is the one example of the problem play I put up just to give an example what it is, and the rest of the things I have already discussed, its characteristics and all. You please revise the video and say it. I hope that the concept is clear. Thank you very much, friends.